Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to check out Beta FPV's new Meteor 6.5 HD. It comes in on their website around the $149 mark, but what I think is super cool is that this little 65mm tiny whoop with HD recording on board comes in at 35.9 grams. That's actually pretty good. And it's a lot of fun to fly because it has versatility for a little bit of freestyle and some pretty nice small space HD filming. So mild cinema, and it comes with a nice little case. I'm going to show you everything in this review about this quad, but let's go ahead first and let's enjoy a little flight test with this guy indoors and outdoors, and after that we'll come back in and we'll check this little guy out on the bench. Pretty cool for around $150. Here we go. Alright guys, let's go ahead and do a little kind of narration over top of these flights for you. It was flying good, and it's not as good or smooth in my opinion as the Alpha A65, which I reviewed yesterday on the channel, the Christmas version. So here we are with the HD version of the Meteor 6.5, which is great because check out the video, it's fantastic, but I feel like this one is more sensitive on the throttle, and a lot of that has to do with the camera angle. You can kind of see how the camera angle is just, it seems just a little bit high, and that really, hurts when you're trying to slow down indoors. Great for outdoors. No, Pokey Puppy, I'm just been caught by the Pokey Puppy. So, yeah, so indoors, it's hard to slow this guy down, and it is really fast. So guys that are really good on sticks, or kids that have super fast responsive fingertips that are fast as lightning, you will be great with this. And if you're trying to win indoor races, this little guy is quite a contender. Even with the HD board on there, I feel like this one's as fast as the original Meteor 6.5. So probably, again, one of the fastest whoops that I've flown this year, and I'm just happy that they have an HD version of it for you guys. But I really had to kick way back off the throttle and be super easy on the throttle to be able to make it around the table. Right here you can kind of see the quad bouncing up and down a little bit, and I'm just giving it tiny inputs, and a little harder to fly behind the flat screen, and just navigating the halls and around the house was a little more challenging versus the A65. And there I'm like up inside the lamp, but where it really shines is outside. So I feel like this little guy is just built for outdoor whooping in your front yard, around your neighborhood. I didn't even notice that guy was there. Did you see the maintenance guy down there? And then flying through the tree canopy felt absolutely fine, even with that big camera tilt. I felt like I could really see, and the 5.8 VTX was performing good. It was actually performing a little bit better than the Alpha A65 from iFlight. So I think this VTX might be performing a little bit better. Here we're going to do an acro tree dive, just try one of those big evergreen dives here. And yeah, it did it. That's a nice dive from a whoop. No washout, came down smooth, and there is a little bit of wind up top today. So I was kind of expecting it to have some type of washout, but this little quad could do some mild freestyle in my opinion. And what a fun cruiser. Does the HD video look good, you guys? Make some comments down below if you think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the video. I think indoors in the low light probably is the worst, but that's with any HD camera shooting 1080p. Not great in low light. Here, behind the house test, my receiver fail-safed right there. I was almost all the way around, had to walk around back and get it. Other whoops with SPI type receivers have made it all the way around, but not this one. And I'm able to bind up in D16 on this, by the way, if you're trying to bind yours. But if you want to speed it up, again, this quad is, even indoors, more of a handful than I can handle at times. So it is super fast. Just think that camera angle is just, man, I can't get over the camera angle. I just think it's a little bit high for a whoop, but they have a pretty large field of view. And it is extremely fast. Let's go ahead and take this one to the bench, guys. All right, guys, welcome back. from the flight test, let's go ahead and dive right into the Meteor 6.5 HD. Now, I originally reviewed this Meteor 6.5 without the HD camera on board and the HD DVR. You can go back and check that out if you want to. This little Whoop is really versatile, so if you're looking for something that you can fly around indoors and have fun, it's full swing in Whoop season right now. So one of the perfect ones to get if you want HD on board. I reviewed one yesterday on the channel from iFlight. You guys might not have seen it, but you can go back and check that out. There's a lot of 65mm quads coming through my channel recently, but I've had this one for a while and I have been flying it, and it does come with Beta FPV's proprietary Nano HD camera on board. So it's not a Runcam Nano, it's not any type of Runcam or Foxeer recording device on here or Cadex. It's their own DVR, which is cool. So in the very back you have a slot right here, and that's where your micro SD card goes in. And I just use a 32 or a 16 gigabyte. You can use the regular ones or you can use an Extreme on here, but it comes with about 30 degrees of tilt, and that's kind of locked into place. I feel like for indoor flying, I wish it had more of a straight on camera, and typically this type of camera right here has a really wide field of view, so a lot of times you don't really need it, but I feel like it needs just a little bit more leveled out camera to be able to fly slower around the house, because with 30 degrees pitch, man, you are cranking it around the house. And the Meteor 6.5 in general really has a reputation out there for being like extremely fast. One of the faster quads for indoor out there that I flew in 2020. So a very, very fast quad, but you get a nice clear image on that 1080p resolution. It also records audio, which is great. And two screws release the top plate canopy, and underneath that you can see that Nano HD cam board with the micro SD card slot there, and just under that is the Beta FPV flight controller and ESC VATX combo. So you have plug and play motors here, and we've talked about those before on the channel. Those just simply come unplugged if you blow out a motor, which is kind of cool. So you don't have to do any soldering. It does have an onboard receiver on here, and it's running SPI, and it bound up in D16 on my transmitter in FrSky. So if you guys already have a Taranis radio, you can just bind it straight up. Now, other than the ESCs on here, which are 5 amp ESCs, it's well powered on 1S. That's not a big deal. You don't need much more than 5 amp. I've seen quads this size run 3 amp, but honestly, with the addition of the HD board on here, it's good that they did 5 in case there's any higher amp draw, because it is a little heavier than the original Meteor. But what's nice about it is that I don't really see a difference in the flying characteristics of it. So the addition of the HD board on here above the flight controller really doesn't weigh it out and sag it too much, because in times past I reviewed the Mobula 7 HD, and that one seemed to be kind of flying a lot slower with the addition of an HD recording DVR board on there. So it's nice that this one is not noticeable. Now also on here you have Gemfan 31mm tri-blade props, and those are just push on, no bolts. They have a 1mm shaft hole on there, so if you're looking to replace those, that is the shaft hole that you'll need to fit this motor. And this is the Beta FPV 0802 motor, 22,000 kV. So these are pretty fast motors. They're the same exact size as the iFlight Alpha 6.5. So performance is about the same, but with this camera tilt, it feels even faster in the house. And I have to say, as far as the tune goes on here, the tune is good, but I felt like at times I was really having to be really critical of the throttle on this quad because of that high camera tilt. It felt like it had less control indoors for me than the Alpha 6.5, and a lot of that has to do with camera angle. So if you could get in there and somehow level this camera out, you could go a lot slower indoors. But I know some of you guys like to fly really fast, so if you're looking for a really fast quad out of the box, this is going to be one of the fastest ones out there that's available right now. So it also has the BT 2.0 connector on here. That is this little wire right here, and it connects to this 1S 300 milliamp battery, and they're not the old PH 2.0 connectors, so don't get these confused with this connector right here. This is an example of a PH 2.0,
and this is the all-line 450 that I recommended for you guys. You can get an adapter for these to run from PH 2.0 into the BT 2.0 connector right here on this quad. So I think Beta FPV's website, maybe Banggood, has those converters. Would be kind of nice. Also in the box you do get one of these, and this will allow you to plug it into your charger from the battery and be able to charge your BT 2.0 connectors on a charger that has PH 2.0 connectors on board. Hopefully you guys were following that, but let me show you my charger of choice. This is the Eachine 6-in-1 charger that I always use, and you can see the 2.0 connectors here, PH 2.0, and then the new ET 2.0 connectors from Banggood on Eachine stuff. And I was charging up a bunch of these batteries. But that is a great resource. This charger is about $18. You can charge with a 4S 1300 and charge quite a few batteries. You can also plug in the wall adapter to this with the AC port right there. You just need a 12-volt power supply for this to run off the wall charger. So I have one here. I'll try to put a link down below for one of these, but this really saves you a lot of time, because as fast as I can fly these batteries, this charger has more batteries coming to me. And you can also fly a 450 on this quad, and the easiest way to do it, guys, is just stick a zip tie around this battery case right here. This is for your 1S 300 milliamp, and then with a simple zip tie you can kind of convert it to being able to fly the 450s. And I was able to get about 2 minutes with the 300 milliamp battery that comes with it, and with a 450 that's going to get you up into the 3.5 minute range. I'm not sure that you could get 4 minutes, but maybe if you're just cruising around indoors. It also performs pretty well outside in acro, and hopefully you guys enjoyed some of that footage. I didn't do a whole lot of flips and rolls because it was quite windy outside, and if you want to do acro freestyle, get the one without the HD board. So in my opinion, this one's more of a cruiser and just an all-around general flying FPV quad. So I say general, that means more flying in like stability mode. It does great as a cruiser. And I like that they give you a nice case. It does have their logo on the front. You have the zipper all the way around with a rubber grab handle there for opening it up easy. You also get a little card in here which has a QR code on the back side for support. You can email them directly for help, which is kind of cool. You can file a ticket for help if you need to, and you also get an extra canopy in here. It would have been cool if they gave me the black canopy for that. I believe there's a black canopy as well. And I believe the original canopy would be interchangeable, but you'd have to cut a spot for the SD card to be able to fit through. You also get a screwdriver in there, and that screwdriver is a Phillips head screwdriver to take your canopy on and off. You get 2 batteries in the bundle, which I thought was cool because some of the other Bind and Flies out there don't come with 2 batteries, and this is one of the older ones. The one you get will look like that. So the original one had that black top on it. So the new ones say Beta FPV, and these last for quite a while. That's the good news about these batteries. They're performing a little bit better than some of the cheaper ones out there. They haven't been swelling on me, and that has to do with landing this battery in time. So don't overfly these batteries, and they'll swell up less on you. And there's a spot down here for that one, and you can put more batteries right up here. So nice little case. It holds this little guy in there quite well inside the case, and now he won't get damaged. So on a final note, I had a lot of fun with this quad, and again, I feel like it's pretty fast. So I would say this one is more for people who want to fly it more outdoors, because I think where you can really open this quad wide up on the throttle is outdoors. And if you're going to fly it indoors, you definitely want to maybe set a throttle limit in beta flight at about 80% and just kind of slow it down. Maybe try to figure out a way to bring this camera tilt down a little bit. It's probably my biggest concern about that. So flight characteristics seemed fine. I do think that the durability is pretty good. And one other thing that I noticed that I wanted to mention to you guys, since this is a review and I do honest reviews, is that I did see some scoring on the inside of these prop ducts. You can probably see just a little bit of scoring there. So these props are touching at points, and it might be that when I bump into something, it touches the edge of the prop guard, and that's probably what it is. But I don't see as much of it on these rear ones. So I do see a little bit of scoring right there and right here. So that's one thing to look out for, but that's kind of a characteristic that I've seen on some of Beta FPV's designs in the past. But it does happen to a lot of tiny whoops out there. The props will hit the ducts, but as long as it doesn't cause your ESC to fry, that's probably just fine. But thanks again for watching this fun review of this little quad. Hopefully you learned something about this quad today, and you're interested in grabbing one of these. If you want a little race tiny whoop, little race demon, this thing is insanely fast. And now you've got HD on board, which is super cool. So one last tip is that the HD will record down to the SD card after you unplug the quad. So one thing I wanted to mention before I let you go is that you won't lose your video. It will save it down to the DVR. So that's really, really cool. But thanks again for watching, guys. I'm Justin Davis. Please do subscribe on the channel. I've got more stuff coming up, and we're going to do some giveaways around the first of the year. So please do subscribe, and let's have some fun in January. Hope you're having a happy holiday and a Merry Christmas coming up. Guys, I'll see you on the next one.